Chapter 1. I love you, but I'm not in love with you. I never thought the words would emerge from my mouth. I had heard countless husbands and wives say something similar about their spouses, but I never dreamed that I might feel the same way about my wife, Shannon. We had been high school sweethearts and had dated for more than 4 years prior to getting married. But now, after nearly 20 years of marriage, I couldn't get away from those thoughts and words. I knew what I had to express to Shannon. I love you, but I don't love you the way a husband should love his wife. They were complicated words. After all, I was the go-to guy who did and said everything right when other people needed advice about doing the right thing. I was a spiritual leader and a pastor in one of the largest congregations in the Northeast, and I was having sex with one of my wife's best friends. One day, in early autumn of 2010, Shannon and I were in our beautifully furnished formal living room in our recently built home in Massachusetts. As kids, who had both come from divorced families, we grew up poor. When Shannon and I married, our first home cost a whopping $1,000. Now, 20 years later, we felt as though we were living in luxury, and by our standards, we were. It was everything we had ever wanted, but it was an emotional prison of gold. A lovely home and elegant drapes and furniture cannot satisfy a lonely, emotionally disconnected heart. Shannon was sitting in a chair when I walked in, and without giving her any warning, I said, "I don't love you anymore. I'm ready to give up everything. You, this house. I'm willing to walk away from 20 years of ministry. I'm in love with someone else." Shannon looked up at me shocked. "What?" I stared directly at Shannon and said the words I'd been thinking for months. "I love you," I said, "but I don't love you the way a husband should." "I don't understand," Shannon protested. "How can you say that?" "I think I love someone else, and it's not you," I admitted. Then I said it again, as if to drive the point home. "I love you, but I don't love you the way a husband should love his wife." My words had taken Shannon completely by surprise. She might have suspected that something was causing me to be disgruntled, like a midlife crisis or maybe too much stress at work, but had anybody asked her 5 minutes earlier about the status of our marriage, Shannon would have sung my praises. She was happy and contented with our life together. She remained seated in the chair. I continued standing in front of her, making no effort to console her. She was fighting back tears, trying hard not to cry, but she was losing that battle. "Don't do anything yet. Just relax," she said softly. "Jimmy, what are you talking about? Every single day for the past 20 years, you've told me you love me, and now this? I don't understand." Shannon's body sank more deeply into the chair. Her big brown eyes glistened, not with the excitement or joy that I had seen for years, but with huge tears welling up in them. I had looked into those beautiful eyes for comfort, faith, and assurance, but now all I could see there was pain. The hurt look in Shannon's eyes saddened me. I immediately looked away and steeled myself, including my own facial expression and demeanor. I couldn't allow her pain to penetrate my heart. I didn't want to deviate from my decision. I was in love with another woman, and I knew what I wanted, or so I thought. I left the room, and for several hours we didn't speak. Later that day, Shannon and I drove from Shrewsbury, Massachusetts, to Boston, about a 30-mile jaunt east on Interstate 90. To attend a wedding reception held aboard a boat in Boston Harbor. Most of the people who had been invited were from our church, and I was their pastor. While driving, I kept telling Shannon, "I just don't love you as I should." She didn't reply. She sat calmly, looking out the window and not responding positively or negatively. Eventually, she spoke quietly, as though talking to herself as much as to me. "That can't be," she said. "We've been together since we were 16 years old." Looking over at her, I didn't know whether to be angry with her or to feel sorry for her, or to feel nothing at all. I was convinced that Shannon had no idea how deeply involved I was with a new woman in my life, a woman she knew well. Once at the event, I went into masquerade mode, acting as though everything in our marriage was perfect. Donning an emotional mask was no stretch for me. I had been playing various roles all my life, trying to gain acceptance. We greeted people, hugged, smiled, and danced together. We both sensed it wasn't the right time or place to make a scene, so I continued living the lie.